Hey everybody. Doing a little bit better, but you're going to notice I stick my head down from time to time, and that's just the only way to swallow without a lot of pain. Number 112 in the Criterion collection is Playtime by Jacques Tati again, for the last time, at least for a while, from France from 1967. This is our third Monsieur Hulot film, and I didn't even notice or realize up until this point, but Jacques Tati, in addition to writing and directing the film, plays Monsieur Hulot. And by the time he got to this movie, he was kind of sick of the character. So the character isn't in like a third of the movie, maybe even closer to a half. He's more of a supporting character in a lot of ways. However, this is easily the best of these films. This film is great. It is another slapstick comedy, but this one's got a strong message. The last one sort of had notes about the folly of keeping up appearances and all that, but this one definitely satirizes the modern era. This film looks and sounds amazing. I love the look and sound of this film. And so what I do with these movies is I watch them and then I try to read up on them, so I don't come into it with opinions ahead of time. So I was struck by the look and the sound of this, and then when I read up on it, he had specifically, this was the most expensive film in France ever at the time of its release. Because he built all of these sets, and he also, like, the sound engineering, turned out he built a lot of stuff for the sound engineering to stand out as much as it did. It's pretty great. It does not have a plot, which is always a problem for me. As a result, the 2 hour runtime of this does feel long and slow. There's a lot to love about this movie. For my personal preferences, it could have been quite a bit shorter and still hit the mark. But I do love how it looks and how it sounds. Oh, so this film was apparently made in response to the president of France at the time talking about bringing France into the modern era. So the theme of modernity and automation is all throughout this film as a satire. The sets are almost gray is the predominant color in this movie, and it was chosen that way for a reason, so that it wouldn't look like France, so it wouldn't look like Paris. The only element of the movie that's meant to actually evoke the look of Paris is a small scene in which there's a flower seller with a flower seller's cart. Apart from that, there is no green plants in the movie, and everything is gray and big, and people fumbling with technology. And Monsieur Hulot kind of weaving his way through, still being a good-natured bumbler. There's a lot to recommend this. There is a fourth film in which Monsieur Hulot shows up. I don't know much about it other than it exists. It doesn't look like it's in the collection anytime soon. We may never see Jacques Tati again because he didn't direct much after this. So this may be our last time with him, but this is definitely the peak of his work that we've seen so far. Sorry, I am still recovering from throat surgery. If you didn't see the previous video, it's been rough. A little bit better every day. But that's why my voice is here. That's why I'm looking down to get into the mic. I can't really put power behind my voice like I normally do. So the film goes in 6 different phases, and I'm not going to remember all the phases off the top of my head, but it's like scenes of confusion at an airport, scenes of confusion at an office building, then at a hyper-consumerist marketplace. Then there's a really interesting segment where Hulot runs into an old army friend who invites him over to his house. And what you see is the modern housing establishments, which are just apartments with giant plate glass windows showing the entire apartment. That entire sequence is shot from the street. You can't hear anything being said or done inside the apartment. You can also clearly see the apartment next door. And both of them seem to have like a TV mounted on adjoining walls. So what you have is our characters in this apartment looking over here, and characters in a different apartment looking over here, like they're looking at each other, but they're not connecting in any way because they're just watching a TV. There's a solid wall between them that we can't see. And that goes on for quite a while. Then there's a nightclub sequence, which is really, well, not nightclub, it's a restaurant slash nightclub, which is really fun. Probably my favorite sequence in the film. Because it's a restaurant that is having its grand opening, but it's not done being built yet, so there's just all kinds of problems of particular note. Every time, like a waiter tears his jacket on an iron chair, just rips his jacket, so he goes and talks to a waiter that for some reason is stationed by the back door. I don't know why this guy is there, but his job is just to stand there all night, and since he's less visible, swaps jackets with him. Then later, somebody like damages a shoe and swaps a shoe with him. Somebody drops their tie in the soup, swaps their. So by the end of the sequence, the waiter, who has been doing nothing but standing by the back door, looks ridiculously disheveled. There are these iron chairs that have the backs of them are kind of shaped like a crown, but apparently they are damaging customers' jackets. So you see people in all these dining jackets walking around with the imprint of crowns on their backs from the chairs, and they're not aware of it, which is also a funny touch. And then lastly, there's a bit of it's people driving in a roundabout and a grocery store that Monsieur Hulot can't get out of. So it's just about being stuck in these carousels and cycles. Those are the 6 main elements of the film. I did remember them. Should you watch this film, which I forgot to do last time? Honestly, if you're going to watch a Monsieur Hulot film, Hulot, this is probably the one I would recommend. But I will say to set your expectations, because it is 2 hours long, which for a movie that largely relies on silent slapstick comedy. There's talking, but the talking isn't fully necessary. There are times there are no subtitles, and you don't need them because the words don't matter. They just exist because people are talking in that moment, but they don't further anything. I would recommend this one, but just know that it's long and slow. But it says a lot. Tati actually built these sets, which were massive and cost. It's the reason this film was one of the most expensive ever made, is he built these massive sets, and he filmed it in 70 millimeter, which means that everything, I know everything is gray, but it's a gorgeous gray. The clarity is astounding. This film looks great, and the sound detail, the moment it stuck out to me, there was a passenger getting off the airplane and walking with his suitcase, a rolling suitcase, and it had the suitcase tag on it that was kind of twirling a little in the breeze, and you could distinctly hear this thwip, 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 much faster than the mouth can do as it was going, and it was so clear and distinct, and everything makes that kind of sound. People walking, it's almost like he made music out of the mundane in some of these scenes. There's a scene where Hulot is waiting for a job interview. Another guy sits down. And all this guy does, like, he takes a paper out of a thing, he writes on it a little bit, he brushes off some stuff, he gets comfortable in the chair. Just, like, perfectly generic extra stuff, right? There's nothing you would normally pay attention to at all, but everything makes a sound. Not a weird sound, but the expected sound. The sounds are just amplified such that it almost becomes a musical performance watching this guy. It's very well made. Anyway, I think I might be pushing my luck with how much I can talk. So of these films, I do like this one the most. Does it have an ending because it's a French film? Sure. There's not enough of a story for ending to mean something, but it does feel like it concludes. Sorry, I'm still not feeling well. So we're going to go ahead and cut it there. I will say. So our next film, number 113, will be Big Deal on Madonna Street, directed by Mario Monicelli from Italy from 1958. So I look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a while. It'll be a little less than a week, but it'll be several days at least. So I should actually be able to eat solid food before I record the next one of these. I'm on a liquid diet for the next 5 days, still 4 days, something like that. I'm taking in less than 1,000 calories a day, which is also part of why I don't feel good, because liquid diet, but every swallow hurts, which means you really have to weigh how sick do I feel from starvation versus how much pain am I willing to endure. I'm breathing heavy just from talking so much. So I'm going to go. I'm going to be fine. I'm just recovering from a surgery that's way more serious than I thought it was going to be. I'm fine. This was actually an enjoyable film, although, as a caveat, long and slow. Probably could have cut it in half and still done as good a job. Interestingly enough, it was originally meant to be 140 minutes, but he cut 20 minutes, and nobody has seen that 20 minutes since. He swore he was holding on to it, and he would release it at some point, but nobody's seen it. And the Criterion Collection is the 120-minute version. I love a lot about this film. I don't love the length. I don't need the extra 20 minutes. Thank you, Monsieur Tati. You can keep it. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thank you for being a part of this experiment journey. It's a journey now. Thank you.